signing of a trade deal between the EU and South American nations is delayed after protests from European farmers. We're in Jazeera in Democratic Republic of Congo, where Rwanda-backed M23 fighters are withdrawing a week after taking the town.
I am Ahmed Idris in the mining pits of central Nigeria, where licensed miners battle bandits and illegal miners for the control of gold fields in this region.
Intense discussions are underway among European leaders to find a way to finance Ukraine's war effort. They're deciding in Brussels whether to use nearly $200 billion in frozen Russian assets to support Kyiv for the next 2 years. Moscow says it's theft and warns of legal action against European banks. EU member states, they're divided. Most actually want to use the assets, but they essentially disagree on how to. Germany supports using the assets. Belgium is against it, along with Italy, Malta, Bulgaria and Hungary. Most of Russia's frozen assets are in the Euroclear Bank, which is based in Brussels. So Belgium wants reassurances it'll be protected against any Russian retaliation in the courts. Some countries are concerned that it could damage investor confidence in the Eurozone. Ukraine's president, meanwhile, says he needs a decision by the end of the month. Volodymyr Zelensky says the money is vital and would go towards drone production as well as reconstruction. Steph Vasson has been following what's been happening in Brussels for us.
Intense negotiations here in Brussels using the billions of dollars of frozen Russian assets is risky and unprecedented. Belgium and other countries are very concerned about possible Russian repercussions. And that's why Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky traveled to Brussels in a last-minute attempt to convince the 27 European leaders that the money is urgent and is the best solution to help Ukraine.
We want this to support us. We are more confident on the negotiating table if we have this instrument. And how will we withstand one more year of the war? With that, you will immediately have the answer, and there will be no such questions.
That's how high the stakes are for Europe, because if Ukraine fails to defend itself against Russia, the security of Europe as a whole is at risk. That's the perception here.
Either money today or blood tomorrow. And I am not talking about Ukraine only, I am talking about Europe. And this is our decision to make, and only ours. I think all European leaders have to finally rise to this occasion.
A call on all the 27 member states to show unity and strength at a time when Europe has increasingly become sidelined at the world stage. Steph Vasson, Al Jazeera, Brussels.
Yulia Shapovalova reports now from Moscow and what the Kremlin has been saying in response.
Russia calls its frozen assets illegally held funds by Europe, and basically it says that all the losses will be recovered from European banks by Russia. So the central bank actually reminded that it had already filed a lawsuit against Euroclear in Belgium. Russia is against using its frozen assets to finance Kyiv and to pay reparations. But here in Russia, it's evident that for the EU, it's not an easy decision. We know that at least 7 countries are opposing it. If the decision to confiscate Russia's assets is made, then Russia may consider seizing European assets here in Russia. Well, it's also a problem because most of that money actually belongs to private businesses and not to a Russian government. And actually many agree that for both sides, for the European and for the Russian side, any confiscation of assets would seriously damage their investment attractiveness and reputation.
Hanna Shelest is the Security Studies Program Director at Ukrainian Prism. Now, this is a foreign policy and security think tank. She says there are also moral considerations in supporting Kyiv with Russian funds.
On the one hand, we clearly understand the legal concerns of our European partners, because it would be the first time in the history, at least of the after the Second World War, when such decisions would be made, and they would like to be absolutely clear from the future Russian court, for example, or any type of the legal suits. But at the same time, from the moral point of view, let's be honest. For example, in Odessa, within the last week, Russia destroyed all electrical stations. The whole city of 1 million people was for 4 days without electricity at all, total blackout. Why Europeans should pay for this? Why Qatari or Japanese should pay for this? That is, the civilian objects have nothing with the military goals of their operations. So that's logical that the Russian money would pay for the reparation of what they have damaged in Ukraine. We understand that the Belgium, for example, concerns that they are securing their banks not only Russian money, but money of different countries around the globe. And they're afraid that this country can suddenly decide to move this money, I don't know, to China or to other countries around the globe, because they would feel insecure in case any crisis happened with them, that this money also can be frozen. But the solution is very easy. Don't start aggressions against the independent countries. And in this case, you would not have the same legal consequences with freezing your sovereign stocks in the banks.
The EU has also delayed the signing of a major deal that would create the world's largest free trade area. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen was meant to sign the pact with the South American alliance Mercosur in Brazil on Saturday. But now it's all been pushed back to January. Thousands of farmers have been protesting outside the EU headquarters in Brussels. They say the agreement will cut into their profits. It would open up free trade between the EU's 27 states and 4 Mercosur members: Brazil, Argentina, Paraguay and Uruguay. Dominic Kane explains the rift between EU countries over this deal.
Going into this EU summit, the issue of Mercosur, would the deal finally be approved to allow Ursula von der Leyen to fly to South America for a signing on Saturday, was the central issue for many different people in lots of different sectors: agriculture, industry and that sort of thing. On the one side, you had Germany and the Nordic countries and Spain all lobbying hard in favour of this deal. Ranged against them, though, the French government, the Italian government. Why? Because of the concerns in their very powerful farming sectors about the sorts of things that this deal would make easier. Their worry being that their products such as poultry and beef could be undercut by far cheaper imports from the Mercosur countries. There had been a sort of compromise brought in on Wednesday with the hope amongst certainly Commission officials that that would be enough. But in the end, it was not. And so Giorgia Meloni, the Italian Prime Minister, then asked the Brazilian President for more time. So no signing in December, the suggestion being maybe there will be a signing in mid-January. Clearly, the German government would happily see a signing as soon as possible because of the economic concerns. But there must now be a question about what might happen between now and mid-January, given the powerful forces ranged against each other in this debate. Dominic Kane, Al Jazeera, Berlin.
Brazil's finance minister says it's a priority to press ahead with the deal and that there's much more at stake than trade. Monica Yanakiev has more from Argentina's capital, Buenos Aires.
For Mercosur, this deal is a strategic deal. It has a geopolitical importance. Why? Because it happens at a moment when U.S. President Donald Trump has been slapping tariffs left, right, and center. He is creating a very unstable environment in terms of trade. Nobody knows what tariffs he'll impose today, tomorrow, when he'll withdraw them. Also, the international trade organizations have been undermined. So creating a free trade zone between these two economic blocs sends a message. Not only it creates this free trade area, but it also sends a message to other countries that the Mercosur wants to make deals with, like the EFTA countries and Asian countries. So this is the importance of this deal, and that is why Mercosur is willing to accept it, even though the Europeans have been making it more and more difficult. The European Parliament has just approved stricter agricultural safeguards, which make it harder for Mercosur to export its agricultural products to Europe. Nevertheless, they were willing to take this deal because they said it would be important also to bring investments to the region and also to reduce the region's dependence on China.
French farmers have long opposed the Mercosur agreement and have been one of the most vocal groups in trying to have it killed off. Natasha Butler reports from eastern France on why they say that it's a bad deal.
Morning mist in eastern France. Xavier Sengelen is on his farm. He says he loves his work, but because of rising costs and climate change, he barely makes a living. Now he also worries that the EU's new Mercosur free trade deal will create unfair competition and destroy small farms like his.
I think we'll see a real impact on prices. They'll be fixed at a rate that does not reflect our reality, but we'll have to accept it and compromise on quality because of costs. If we can't survive financially, we'll have to shut down.
French farmers say the agreement is unfair because South American farmers don't have to adhere to the same health and environmental rules as they do in the EU. Under pressure from the agricultural sector, French President Emmanuel Macron said France would only support a fair deal.
Farmers in France have traditionally had a lot of public support. Farms like these are seen as core to the country's identity, to its rural life and to its culture of local food production. So when farmers speak out, people tend to listen.
Hoping to be heard, Xavier joins other farmers at a protest outside the EU Parliament in Strasbourg.
They have to see reason, because farmers from this major EU agricultural nation are angry. I hope they'll hear our arguments.
Before the deal can be ratified, it must be approved by the EU's Parliament. This French MEP is one of a group of lawmakers who say they'll oppose it and question its legality.
We think that legally speaking, not even saying politically speaking, that trade deal is very bad.
Inside Parliament, Mercosur supporters, including this Romanian MEP, says it's not only about trade, but also strengthening alliances.
We need new partners because the European Union has developed vulnerabilities when we are depending from Russia, when we are depending from China. If we depend unilaterally for security on the United States, because it's very clear that the aspect of security has been neglected by the European Union.
Expanding global reach or supporting local growth. For now, it's clear that the EU and French farmers are dancing to a different tune. Natasha Butler, Al Jazeera, Heiligenstein, Eastern France.
Rwandan-backed M23 rebels are withdrawing from Uvira in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. The group said it would leave the city if a neutral force was deployed to maintain security. The fighters currently control all major urban hubs in the region, as well as the border crossing with Burundi. This month, they've been pushing further south along Lake Tanganyika. They did take control of Uvira last week. Alain Waikani is in the city with details of more on M23's withdrawal.
In the town of Uvira, life is moving on. As you can see, shops reopen again, and women, everybody are working today. Besides the fact that the town waked up also with the news of the M23 rebels withdraw. These are the group fighters that have been controlling this town for the last almost 1 week right now. But under the pressure of the U.S. government, due to the peace process which is going on, the M23 announced that they are withdrawing, and they started withdrawing since yesterday. But for the majority of the population here, they are occupied with their daily life as they reopen their business after almost days of trauma and also fear of what could have happened here. People are saying that they are not well informed about what is going on. Everything that they need, or the very important aspect of their life, is just peace.
We, as the population, we are closely observing whether the M23 withdrawal will be fully implemented or not. But at least we must acknowledge that the rebels have shown goodwill for peace by agreeing to withdraw. We thank President Trump, the DRC government, and all the mediators involved. We now wait to see whether this peace will truly follow.
The rebels arrived here last week, and now they have been asked to leave as part of the peace process. As the people of Jazeera, we have no problem with anyone. What we need is peace. Whoever comes with peace is welcome here.
The big question remaining also in this town is where are the rebels going? Who is going to take care of this town? M23 in their side, they're saying they will not abandon the population. And also this is why they're saying the withdrawal will be gradually so that they can make sure that the town is protected, people are protected. For majority of the population, for those who were worrying for their security, they are observing now what will happen. But also another question is where the M22 will reposition themselves, because they're only talking about Uvira. But from Uvira to Bukavu, M23 has managed to occupy different other areas that people doesn't know whether all this will be concerned by this withdrawal announced by the rebels. Alan Waikani, Al Jazeera, Uvira, the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Still ahead on Al Jazeera. Mass protests in Argentina as well against President Javier Milei's proposed labor reforms. Plus,
I'm Katrina Yu in Hefei, China, and I'm about to take a ride on one of the world's first electric flying vehicles to be certified for commercial use.
Free speech TV has never been more vital than it is right now. With billionaires taking over our media, with media outlets bending the knee to Donald Trump, we're losing our news. We're losing our vital information sources. And we need free speech TV more than we've ever needed it. Everybody listening, please get your wallets out and become a donor today and pass the word. Thank you very much.
You're tuned into Free Speech TV, where we recognize that race and class shape our world. Join us as we delve into stories of resilience, resistance, and solidarity across diverse communities.
At Free Speech TV, we're more than a network. We're a movement, a trusted source for independent, unapologetic, and people-powered media. And now your organization can stand with us. FSTV invites mission-aligned companies and nonprofits to amplify their impact through our underwriting program. A powerful way to connect with millions who care about social justice, democracy, and a better world. Our viewers are change makers, twice as likely to engage in advocacy, activism, and giving. Underwriting with FSTV allows your brand to align with these values, reinforcing your commitment to a just and sustainable world. Plus, as a 501c3 nonprofit, your contribution is tax deductible, a win-win for your organization and our fight for a just future. If you're interested in joining our underwriting program, please email underwriting@freespeech.org. Thank you.
this is Al Jazeera. A reminder of our top stories this hour. European Union leaders are meeting in Brussels to decide whether to use $200 billion of frozen Russian assets to support Ukraine's war effort. Russia says it'll take legal action against European banks if they do this. The signing of a trade deal between the EU and the South American alliance, Mercosur, has been delayed until January. Thousands of farmers have been protesting outside the EU headquarters in Brussels. They say the agreement will cut into their profits. Al Jazeera is on the ground in Uvira in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, where Rwandan-backed M23 rebels are withdrawing. They say they're leaving the city as a show of good faith and at the request of US mediators. Illegal mining is making it harder for Nigeria to stop armed groups known as bandits. They've taken control of parts of the north and central region areas believed to be rich in gold, lithium, and other valuable minerals. The money is helping fund their operations. Emily Idris reports from Pache in Niger State.
Deep inside what many people consider bandit territory, Bashir Hassan and dozens of young men dig and shovel dirt and rocks they believe contain traces of gold. He says richer deposits lie just a few hundred meters away, but they're too afraid to go there. Even here, safety is uncertain.
Previously, we spent months in the bush searching for gold. Now bandits control those sites and much more. We're now limited to the outskirts of populated areas.
These are the bandits Bashir fears. Local and foreign gangs raiding mining sites, stealing gold and cash, and kidnapping villages across northern Nigeria. Increasingly, they're not just looting mines, they're running them.
As much as 80% of artisanal mining in Nigeria is unregulated. Illegal miners from different countries, including bandits, take advantage of this to carve out territories. They come prepared with tools, but also with weapons to protect and expand their operations.
Like other conflict-affected mining regions in Africa, Nigeria's mineral sector involves many actors: poor artisanal miners, political interests, compromised security forces, and international criminal networks that move minerals out of the country. Security analysts say proceeds from illegal mining directly fuel violence and displacement, while authorities struggle to respond.
No other threat factor has led to the fatalities that banditry has killed in 2024, in 2025. However, the government as yet does not have any policy for addressing banditry at the federal level. At the state level, you have different approaches.
Much of the gold is smuggled through porous borders into international markets. Some of the proceeds are then used to buy more tools and weapons, sustaining the cycle. The violence has pushed governors from Nigeria's northern states to call for a review of mining licenses. But analysts warn that without tackling poverty and unemployment, banditry and the illicit mining that fuels it will continue. Ahmed Idris, Al Jazeera, Pachi, Nigeria.
Argentina's largest labor union has been protesting at the main square in Buenos Aires. Workers are rallying against reforms proposed by President Javier Milei's government. The demonstration comes as Congress holds special sessions to debate a series of economic and labor bills. Teresa Bo reports from the protest.
I'm here in Plaza de Mayo, in front of the presidential palace in Buenos Aires, and there's thousands and thousands of people who have gathered here to protest against the government of Javier Milei. This demonstration was called by the General Confederation of Labor, one of the most powerful labor unions in Latin America. It's not just a union with workspace negotiation, but it's a political actor that is right now sending a strong message to the government with an attempt to reform labor laws in this country. We've been talking to people here, and they're extremely concerned about the government plans to reform labor laws in this country. Javier Milei says that there's a structural problem in generating jobs in Argentina, that there's lots of bureaucracy, and among the reforms they want to do is to make it easier for laborers and employees to negotiate vacations, working hours, among other things. Also, the way that severances are paid, among other issues in this country. Javier Milei came to power with a promise to jumpstart Argentina's economy. He began with one of the harshest austerity plans in this country's history, laying off thousands of state employees, reducing subsidies. This has had a huge impact among pensioners and the working class in general. Well, now the time has come for a reform of the labor laws in this country. And many people here are extremely concerned about what this means for them. Many of the people I have spoken to say that this deserves a negotiation, a debate about what is going to happen in this country. But what they're saying is that this is a discussion that the government does not want to have. Teresa Bo, Al Jazeera, Buenos Aires.
The Brazilian president has promised to veto a bill that would reduce the prison term of former leader Jair Bolsonaro. Lawmakers passed the bill on Wednesday to slash Bolsonaro's time in prison from 27 years to 2. He was convicted of leading a failed coup after losing the 2022 election. Legally, Brazil's Congress has the last word on the bill and could override the president's veto. The United States has announced sanctions against 2 more judges at the International Criminal Court after they rejected an attempt by Israel to end a war crimes probe in Gaza. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says the judges targeted Israeli nationals without Israel's consent. The ICC released a statement saying that these sanctions are a flagrant attack against the independence of an impartial judicial institution. These sanctions include freezing any US-based assets and banning the judges and their families from traveling to America. President Donald Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, is set to hold talks in Miami on Friday with senior officials from Qatar, Egypt and Turkey on the next phase of the Gaza ceasefire. The second stage is meant to see Israel withdraw from Gaza with a new interim authority and an international force taking over security control. But progress has been slow and the ceasefire remains fragile, with Israeli forces continuing to carry out strikes in the Strip in violation of the deal. Israel also accuses Hamas of violating the ceasefire. China has been criticizing a new U.S. arms sale to Taiwan, saying it will put the island at greater risk. The $11 billion deal includes missiles, rocket systems and drones. China sees the self-governed island as part of its territory and has not ruled out taking it by force. The Taiwanese government, meanwhile, is updating its civil defense preparations, fearing military action by Beijing. Rob McBride reports from Taipei.
Changing of the guard at one of Taipei's best-known landmarks. A must-see for tourists and Taiwanese alike. But coming at the end of a year that has seen renewed military threats from China, creating mixed feelings about relations with its far mightier neighbor.
I'm positive because we are of the same blood. We are all Chinese.
Judging by the current situation, I don't think things will improve.
Analysts have predicted that China will have the military strength within the next 2 years to defeat the island. China regards Taiwan as a renegade province that it's promised to take control of one day by force if necessary. It's not known whether that means Beijing is willing to use military aggression in the near future or whether it's embarked on a more subtle long game of winning over the Taiwanese. Authorities here have renewed their warnings about excursions to the mainland, programs subsidized by the Chinese government, and aimed especially at younger Taiwanese from the island's colleges. Professor Shen Shuhua has studied the risks such trips pose in influencing younger, impressionable minds.
When they go there, they usually take them to stay in good hotel, like I say, go to these museums, go to the well-known Chinese companies. So they usually get a great impression about China. It's a great, has a long, great history.
Concerns about what the coming year will bring have been heightened by US President Donald Trump's planned visit to Beijing, leading to doubts about support from a traditional ally. And recent military drills, which appear to be rehearsing for a possible siege of the island. It comes as Taiwan has updated civil defense advice distributed to all households, promoted by a leading advocate for continued vigilance of Beijing's actions.
Right now, they are trying to using military threats to seek if there's an opportunity for Taiwan surrender. That is the best scenario for the Chinese Communist Party because they don't have to take on any risk of military invasion.
Looking ahead to the new year with increasing anxiety while making preparations should Taiwan's worst fears be realized. Rob McBride, Al Jazeera, Taipei.
Now, taking a taxi to work may be possible sooner than you think. Chinese companies are starting to mass-produce flying vehicles, electric vehicles, and are among the first in the world to sell the cars abroad. Katrina Yu reports from Hefei in Anhui province.
For most people, the idea of getting around on a flying car seems possible only in the distant future. But in China, that reality may not be so far away.
The government is encouraging the growth of what it calls the low-altitude economy, aircraft that fly below 1,000 meters. This EHang electric vehicle is the first in the world to be certified by a national aviation authority for commercial use.
With the gradual popularization of low-altitude flights, this type of air taxi will become widespread. It will become a daily mode of transportation, a lifestyle to enjoy.
It takes off and lands vertically, no runway required. And in this case, no pilot. That means I can try it myself. The interior is simple, 2 seats and a navigation screen. The route is pre-programmed. In case of emergency, there's a button I can press to communicate with the operators on the ground, and a small fire extinguisher. But before I could ask about a parachute,
here we go.
I was off. This air taxi can travel at speeds of up to 90 kilometers an hour for 130 kilometers. It's quite a view, but a little unnerving not having controls. The company says automation reduces accidents caused by human error. But if you prefer to drive,
I'll try to teach you how to fly this in less than a minute.
there are other options. The firm AirRidge is waiting for regulatory approval for its land aircraft carrier, which can be automated or controlled using a driving stick. The flying vehicle is stored and transported inside this van, the ground unit.
You can store it in your own personal parking space. You can drive it with your own personal passenger driving license to, say, some scenic sites, and you can charge it, use this ground unit to charge the aircraft for up to 6 times, so you can fly freely without worrying about the infrastructure.
And the cost? One of these will set you back $300,000 to $400,000. So far, EHang's biggest customers are tourism companies and governments using them for policing and firefighting. But experts say this is just the beginning. As long as you can conquer your fear of heights, the sky's the limit. Katrina Yu, Al Jazeera, Hefei, China.
We did it! I did it!
2022 Football World Cup semi-finals. Morocco have won the FIFA Arab Cup in a thrilling final against Jordan in Qatar. They sealed the 3-2 victory with a goal in extra time. It's the second time they've claimed the title. Morocco won the tournament without fielding their full-strength team as well. Their main stars are getting ready for the Africa Cup of Nations. I'm Rashad Salamat. The news continues after 101 East.
Just want to express my thanks to the FSTV staff. Reliable, truth-telling news sources are especially crucial now. Programs like Breakthrough News, Gay USA, Indian Country Today, Rising Up with Sonali, The Rick Smith Show, and This Week in White Supremacy are available thanks to you. With the app on my phone, I carry FSTV in my pocket when away from home or car. I'm proud to be a sustaining member. Keep on keeping on, folks. You're a beacon of hope in these tumultuous times.
A grenade attack on a Cambodian opposition protest in the country's capital killed 16 people. A political commentator critical of Cambodia's ruling family shot dead in a Phnom Penh cafe. And now, in January 2025, an outspoken former opposition MP, Lim Kim Ya, is gunned down in Thailand's capital, Bangkok. The Cambodian government denies any hand in the attacks, but opposition leaders believe otherwise.
Over the last 30 years, over 80 of opposition supporters have been assassinated, and you can add Lim Kim Ya now.
Ça nous a détruits. Il nous manque beaucoup.
Reeling with grief, Lim Kim Ya's family and friends demand justice.
Mon père est un homme intègre qui aimait profondément son pays et les Cambodgiens. Il a donné sa vie pour améliorer la situation.
They try to close the case and they just say that this is personal dispute. But we know that this is political assassination.
Cambodian dissidents across the world now fear for their lives.
The message is wherever you are not safe. We, the Cambodian government, can kill you wherever you are.
In the first of this two-part program, 101 East investigates Lim Kim Ya's killing and Cambodia's increasingly repressive government. January 2025, a hired killer weaves through the streets of Thailand's capital, Bangkok, towards his target. CCTV cameras capture him pulling in opposite a busy bus station in the centre of the city and crossing the road.
Mon mari, il n'était jamais aussi heureux qu'à ce moment-là. Il n'y avait pas d'ombre. Arrivé à l'arrêt de bus, toutes les personnes qui étaient dans le bus, on est tous descendus.
Annie Lim and her husband, former Cambodian opposition member of parliament Lim Kim Ya, were on holidays and just arrived from Cambodia's Siem Reap.
On a récupéré nos valises et là, on a contourné l'autobus pour prendre un taxi.
The killer is waiting. Within moments, gunshots ring out.
J'ai entendu 2 coups de fusil. Et moi, j'ai cru que c'était des pétards. J'ai tourné la tête à ma droite et j'ai vu une personne marcher relativement vite et puis qui me regardait.
The contact fleeting as the assassin leaves the scene.
Je regarde mon époux et d'un seul coup, je le vois s'affaisser tout doucement vers le sol. Et puis, on l'a allongé par terre et il était mort.
Police photographs show the shocking reality. A disgraced former Thai Marine confessed he was contracted to carry out the hit. But 2 Cambodians suspected of orchestrating it flew out of Thailand back to Cambodia just hours later and remain at large.
C'est dramatique. Je suis obligée de le surmonter, oui. Mais ça nous a détruits. Il nous manque beaucoup. Je ne sais que ça.
A Cambodian French citizen, at 73, Lim Kim Ya is laid to rest in France. But there's little rest for those left behind.
Alors pourquoi le gouvernement cambodgien laisse en liberté ces 2 coupables? Pourquoi il ne les donne pas à la justice pour qu'on puisse connaître la vérité?
Lim Kim Ya's story and the Cambodian government's well-documented attacks on the opposition may provide the answers. At home in Paris, Annie describes meeting Lim at university in 1972, soon after he arrived in France.
Il venait du Cambodge parce que il a eu une bourse de l'État français. Voilà, et c'était une personne charmante, un beau garçon, bien entendu. Et on a eu des sentiments tout de suite.
Marriage and 3 children followed. Thomas is the youngest.
En 1975, quand les Khmers rouges sont arrivés, il ne pouvait plus retourner au Cambodge, donc il a compris que sa vie était ici. Mais il avait toujours cette idée, son cœur était resté au pays.
A mathematician, Lim Kim Ya worked for France's finance ministry for more than 3 decades. But his passion for Cambodia saw him publish a Khmer language political magazine from home.
Il était impliqué en politique depuis la France pour améliorer le Cambodge.
Lim's daughter Sophanie says he was driven to fight corruption and inequality.
Je sais ce que souhaitait faire mon père dans le sens large. C'était changer le gouvernement qui pour lui était corrompu, puisque aujourd'hui il y a une grande différence entre les riches qui vivent grâce à l'industrie et aux matières premières du Cambodge et le reste de la population qui souvent vivent avec pas grand-chose.
Transparency International ranks Cambodia as one of the most corrupt countries in Asia, with wealth concentrated in the hands of the ruling elite. Lim Kim Ya's nemesis was Hun Sen. Having defected from the Khmer Rouge, his long reign began in 1985. As soon as Lim Kim-ya retired from the French civil service, he went back to Cambodia to work with the opposition and was elected to parliament in 2013.
Surtout qu'on le voyait avec son uniforme blanc devant le roi. On était fiers que voilà, ce petit garçon qui venait de la campagne en sachant que ses parents n'étaient pas riches, hein, il ne faisait pas de politique, il n'était pas fortuné, il est arrivé là où il est arrivé tout seul.
But his family knew being an opposition MP for the Cambodian National Rescue Party, or CNRP, came with risks.
Depuis toujours, on savait que faire la politique au Cambodge, enfin, critiquer le gouvernement était dangereux et que c'était pas le premier à être assassiné, ça serait malheureusement pas le dernier.
At the 2013 election, Hun Sen's ruling party only just scraped back in, despite accusations it was involved in electoral fraud. The leader launched a brutal campaign against critics and the opposition. Lim Kim-ya put himself in the firing line. His clashes with Hun Sen in parliament were legendary.
Il critiquait par rapport à la déforestation. Il critiquait par rapport au sable aussi qu'il y avait dans les rivières où on prenait du sable pour le revendre à l'étranger. Et ça, pareil, ça détruisait l'environnement cambodgien. Et surtout, on avait critiqué la Croix-Rouge, en sachant que la directrice de la Croix-Rouge cambodgienne, c'est la femme de Hun Sen.
Hun Sen's wife has been president of the Cambodian Red Cross for more than 30 years. Every year, the country's billionaires line up to hand her millions. But Lim dared to accuse the charity of being a slush fund. It was a day his opposition colleague, Hing Suk-san, will never forget.
Hun Sen so angry, you know. If someone criticizes his family member, he always reacts immediately. But Mr. Kim-ya, he's so brave man. He smile and confident and look back to Hun Sen, talk to him very curiously.
Lim Kim-ya's nerve would soon be tested. In 2014, he was one of 10 people injured when he defied a ban on public gatherings in Phnom Penh's Freedom Park.
He got hit from some gangster, or Cambodians say Bad Dai Ti Bay, yeah. But I don't know how to say it in English, but it's used by Cambodian authority.
A year later, 2 CNRP lawmakers were seriously beaten in front of Parliament. Lim felt lucky to have escaped that attack, but his family say there were other times he felt his life was in danger.
Il était injoignable pendant plus d'1 mois. Il s'était caché quelque part. Et moi, chaque fois que j'allais le voir en partant, je me disais peut-être c'était la dernière fois que je le voyais. Je pensais qu'il l'aurait arrêté, qu'il l'aurait mis en prison.
As support for the opposition continued to surge, more than a dozen of its members were jailed. The party's leader, Kem Sokha, was placed under house arrest and ultimately sentenced to 27 years in prison for treason. Then in 2017, the CNRP was dealt a final blow. It was outlawed.
I want to flee. I need to leave because my family begged me, you cannot stay in jail like Mr. Kem Sokha.
Hing Suk-san narrowly escaped arrest after being accused of treachery. He was given asylum in the US.
I love my beautiful country and the people. That's why I want to go back. But now it's not allowing me to go back.
Lim Kim-ya returned to France, but with no arrest warrant hanging over him, he was able to visit Cambodia regularly.
Il allait voir les gens là-bas, la situation sur place, et discuter un peu politique.
By 2023, Hun Sen had handed the prime ministership to his son, Hun Manet. But Lim's political activism didn't stop, even when he was holidaying in Cambodia with his wife in late December 2024. In what would be his final social media post, He took aim at Hun Sen's younger son and Deputy Prime Minister Hun Mani for hosting an extravagant New Year's event at which a portrait of the king was destroyed.
Mon père, c'était quelqu'un qui respectait énormément les traditions et les personnes plus âgées que lui. Et en particulier, il respectait énormément la famille royale. Hein, et que pour lui, le feu artifice qui a brûlé la photo du roi, c'était quand même scandaleux pour lui et très symbolique.
4 days later, Lim Kim-ya was shot dead in neighbouring Thailand. At the scene was Colonel Chokonnoi Wongbunrit.
ก็คุณลีคิมยาเนี่ยเขาประสบเหตุอยู่ตรงบริเวณนี้ก็โดนอาวุธปืนยิงจำนวน3 นัดก็บริเวณที่ลำตัวเนี่ยช่วงตรงนี้ครับ
Vision from CCTV cameras surrounding the crime scene helped police quickly identify the killer.
ผู้ต้องหาเนี่ยช่วงก่อเหตุเนี่ยเขาไม่ได้สวมหมวกมันเลยเห็นใบหน้าแล้วก็เห็นทะเบียนรถคันที่เขาหลบหนีก็เช็คทะเบียน
An arrest warrant was issued for former Thai Marine Ekalak Panoy after he was seen on CCTV crossing into Cambodia that night. He was detained by Cambodian authorities the following afternoon. The next day, Thai police issued another arrest warrant, this time for Cambodian Pik Kim Srin. CCTV footage shows him on the bus with Lim and at the crime scene. Police believe he acted as a spotter for the shooter.
คนชี้เป้าเนี่ยบอกว่ารถเนี่ยกำลังจะมาจอดพอลงจากรถคนอื่นเนี่ยเขาก็จะไปที่อื่นแต่ว่าผู้ต้องหาคนชี้เป้าเนี่ยเขาลงจากรถเนี่ยเขาไปลักษณะสบตากับมือปืนจนแน่ใจว่าผู้ตายได้เสียชีวิตเขาก็หลบหนีไปแล้วก็นั่งต่อเครื่องบินกลับกัมพูชาภายในวันเกิดเหตุเลย
Within days, the shooter was returned to Thailand. He confessed to killing Lim Kim-ya as a favour to another Cambodian, Lee Ratanak Raksmay. He claimed Lee had helped him financially after he was dismissed from the Thai Navy in 2023.
สื่ออย่างนี้นะครับว่ามือปืนเนี่ยไม่รู้จักผู้ตายเลยเขาให้การว่าเขาตอบแทนบุญคุณผู้มีพระคุณ
General Attapon Wongthiripreda is leading the Metropolitan Police investigation. He says Lee Ratanak Raksmay arrived in Thailand on the eve of the killing and flew out to Cambodia the morning after. He reveals police have evidence he sent money to the shooter.
รวมทั้งเส้นทางการเงินเรื่องนี้สำคัญนะครับในการส่งเงินมาเป็นค่าดำเนินการต่างๆนะครับประกอบกันจนศาลเนี่ยเชื่อมั่นในข้อมูลแล้วออกหมายจับให้เรา
Veteran Cambodian opposition leader Sam Rainsy immediately recognised the suspect. He'd met him at CNRP events in Thailand, where Lee was supposed to rally supporters.
He was always asking for money for work that is not convincing. So we didn't trust him. We were right because he defected to Hun Sen.
And had a meteoric rise. Within 2 years of joining the ruling party, news reports announced his appointment as an advisor to Hun Sen. But just days after Thailand issued an arrest warrant against him, a new document suddenly surfaced, claiming Hun Sen had sacked Lee 9 months earlier for violating party rules.
What a strange coincidence. We knew of the existence of this appointment immediately. Suppose that he was subsequently dismissed only a few months after. Why this dismissal document had not been publicized long before the arrest warrant? It is very convenient for Hun Sen to try to clean his hand like that.
Lee's social media posts indicate he remained a strong supporter of the ruling party. His suspected accomplice and fellow fugitive Pik Kin Srin is also close to a powerful political figure. The alleged spotter's brother is Pik Ross, a Cambodian politician who was instrumental in having Lim Kim Ya's opposition party banned. But for Sam Ramsey, of even greater significance is the fact Pik Kin Srin is a manager of Phnom Penh's central market, which comes under the city's administration, known as the Town Hall.
The Town Hall is of special importance for Hun Sen in conducting the crackdown on the opposition. Hun Sen organized and identified henchmen who beat, attacked, and sometimes killed opponents in the street. So this repression forces is organized by the City Hall.
The government claims any clashes are a result of civil disobedience. But just a week after Lim Kim Ya was shot dead, any possible links to the Cambodian ruling party were dismissed by Thailand's National Police Commissioner.
เพียงแต่ว่าการสอบสวนเราเนี่ยออกมาในความชัดเจนว่ามันไม่ได้เกี่ยวข้องกับการเมืองของประเทศต่างๆเลยแต่เป็นความขัดแย้งระหว่างผู้ใช้จ้างวานกับผู้ตายที่มีความขัดแย้งอันนำมาสู่เหตุของการผมไม่ได้พูดเพื่อปกป้องใครนะครับยืนยันในคณะที่เป็นผบ.ตร.เนี่ยพูดไปมันก็จะเกี่ยวพันกับตัวเองแต่ว่าไม่ได้พูดเพื่อเอาใจใคร
For Lim Kim Ya's family, the statement was preposterous.
Le gars qui a fait le transfert d'argent, sur cette personne-là, je sais strictement rien et mon mari non plus.
Mon père, je pense, n'avait pas d'ennemis pour des affaires personnelles. Les seuls ennemis qu'il avait, c'était pour son engagement politique et pour les articles qu'il continuait à écrire pour dénoncer le gouvernement en place.
Et là, je me pose la question, c'est comment ils savent que c'est une raison personnelle, puisque le commanditaire de l'assassinat est toujours pas arrêté.
But General Adapon insists the hired gunman provided the crucial leads.
เขารับเมสเสจมาอย่างเงี้ยว่าผู้จ้างวานเนี่ยบอกว่ามีความโกรธแค้นส่วนตัวพอเราได้รับข้อมูลจากผู้ต้องหาอย่างเงี้ยนะครับเราก็ไปสืบสวนพบว่าในอดีตเนี่ยนะฮะผู้ตายกับในลีรัศมีเนี่ยรู้จักคุ้นเคยกันดีแต่ตอนหลังเนี่ยมีปัญหากันนะครับเกิดความขัดแย้งทั้งเรื่องส่วนตัวและเรื่องธุรกิจไม่ลงรอยกันหลายประการนะครับ
And what were the specifics about that conflict?
But the general can't provide any details of the alleged feud or even the relationship, claiming that's beyond his brief.
คือข้อมูลทางคดีเนี่ยนะครับขณะนี้สำนักงานตำรวจแห่งชาติเนี่ยให้ตำรวจสันติบาลซึ่งรับผิดชอบเรื่องนี้ทำการสืบสวนอยู่ข้อมูลในเรื่องนี้นะครับ
Unacceptable for me. Mr. Lim Kim Ya, he's run only political activity in his constituency, so he never have a relationship with those guys.
What makes it even worse for Hin Sok San is that Lim Kim Ya is the second close colleague he's seen killed over a supposed personal dispute. The other was popular political commentator Kem Lay, who was shot dead in a cafe in the centre of Cambodia's capital, Phnom Penh, in 2016. His killing came just 2 days after he commented on an international report exposing Hun Sen's family's vast business interests.
ច្បាប់ប្រឆាំងនឹងអំពើពុករលួយត្រូវមានការប្រកាសទ្រព្យសម្បត្តិជាចំហជាលក្ខណៈគ្រួសារហើយមានការស៊ើបអង្កេតប្រសិនបើទ្រព្យសម្បត្តិ
Kemlay's killer was caught within hours.
They say that the gunsman they killed Kamlay because Kamlay borrowed $2,000 or $3,000, something like that. It's not real. They try to close the case, and they just say that this is personal dispute. Yeah, but we know that, and the public know that this is political assassination.
As tens of thousands poured onto the streets to mourn Kemlay's death, Hun Sen denied his government's involvement.
Mr. Kamlay, I work with him a lot. I respect both guys very much. And now they left me very emotional. I cannot say it broke my heart so much that both guys got killed.
The same modus operandi. And ASEAN unmasked. They were not afraid because they knew they have very powerful protection. They come, they meet with the target, just bloody kill him, and went back nonchalantly, as if nothing happened. In Thailand, they do the same, very surprising.
2 weeks after Lim Kim Ya's killing, Cambodia's Prime Minister finally broke his silence, strongly refuting claims his government was involved.
ខ្ញុំសួរថារដ្ឋាភិបាលល្ងងដល់ថ្នាក់ហ្នឹងល្ងងគ្រឿងអីបើរដ្ឋាភិបាលអ្នកចាត់ចែងអ្នកនៅពីក្រោយការចាំបាច់ចាប់ឃាតករបញ្ជូនទៅឲ្យថៃស៊ើបទៅអី
On ne le croit pas du tout. Donc c'est pas en l'envoyant en Thaïlande qui montre qu'il est innocent. Il n'avait pas d'autre choix qu'en gardant un tireur recherché par la Thaïlande. Et avec autant de vidéos qu'il y a sur... tout a été filmé. Donc, et il savait très bien que le tireur n'avait aucune information. Donc il ne prenait pas de grand risque à le renvoyer en Thaïlande.
The question to ask to Hun Manet, what about the two suspects that the Thai police have identified? Why don't you deliver them?
Ils ont su trouver le tireur 24 heures après et même moins. Je pense qu'ils seraient capables d'extrader les 2 personnes qui restent, puisque ces 2 personnes ont été quand même proches du gouvernement.
Hun Sen did not respond, but a spokesman for the ruling party denied all allegations made in this program. But General Attapon assures us Cambodia is cooperating.
โดยได้นำเรียนนะครับจะเห็นได้จากเบื้องต้นที่ประสานตัวจ่าเอ็มกลับมาและรอบ2เนี่ยนะครับก็อยู่เขาก็ยังคงประสานงานอย่างต่อเนื่องครับ
Is there any frustration on your part with the Cambodian authorities?
อันนี้ไม่มีความเห็นครับ
In part 2, we ask, will justice be done in the face of growing transnational repression across the region?
Do you regret personally that you led a country that deported this woman back to be jailed?
We didn't just concede. We did not.
And in a leaked audio recording, Hun Sen purportedly orders action against critics in Thailand.
Hi, this is Mark with FSTV. Discover the power of grassroots movements through Free Speech TV.
You've seen how the billionaire class operates. They pour unlimited money into politicians, think tanks, and media outlets to serve their interests, convincing working people to vote against their own future. They fund propaganda, lies, and misinformation to keep us divided and powerless. But here's the thing. We have the numbers. What we don't have yet is the financial power to fight back at their scale. Now imagine if millions of us committed to just $10 a month. That's it, $10. Cost of a couple of coffees, a fast food meal, or a streaming subscription. If we all pitched in, we wouldn't just counter their influence, we'd overwhelm it. The billionaire class funds their machine to keep us powerless. Let's fight like they do. Let's build our movement strong, independent, and unbought. Start your monthly donation today by visiting freespeech.org. We already outnumber them. Together, let's outfund them too.
We had come up with this live storytelling event called Phenomenal. We were really struggling with trying to figure out how to do this ourselves. We contacted Portland Media Center and they came, scoped out our location, listened to all the tech problems we'd had when we tried to do it ourselves with lighting and background slides and especially with the sound and the audio. And they figured out a whole way to